Hello, I'm Ciaran Doran, and a very warm welcome to A Table for Four. This is a wonderful creative opportunity to be joined by three lovely guests and a live audience to take part in some creative activity, maybe things you've done before and maybe things you haven't. This project would not be possible without the help and support of the Arts Council of Northern Ireland, and we're really so grateful for the funding for this project. We'd also like to welcome them here today, so let's give them a big round of applause. So before we get started, in case you're wondering what the project we're going to do today is, it's called Put Your Stamp on It. And it's all about the wonderful creative art of using a really simple technique of rubber stamping. I'd like to start with you. Would you like to give me your name and where you've come from today?
Yeah, I'm Hannah. I live in Belfast and I work for Cirque, so we've come in this morning with all my students.
I can see them out there. It's really lovely to see them all. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us where you've come from today?
My name is Jeannie, or Jane, whichever people prefer to call me. I am from Portaferry originally, and I call that my home, and I'm a nurse to trade. So this is very different for me, and I found my love of craft really, I've always been sort of dabbling in it, but especially through lockdown when we were all forced indoors and to be on our own, and I taught myself how to watercolour, and I had quite a significant lot of bereavements, one on top of another, so I found that it really got me through hard times. Very therapeutic.
I'm not a watercolourist, I'm mad on rubber stamping, so I think perhaps somewhere along the line you can perhaps give me some tips and tell me, what do you like to make?
Anything and everything, but my heart lies in rubber stamping.
I've got a wonderful selection of rubber stamps. This is only a third of them, but I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment, so thank you. And on my left, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us where you've come from today?
I'm Mary, and I'm the country bumpkin. I'm from Lurgan. I'm also a nurse, and I think nurses very, very often need something to do to get away from everything that goes on in work, because it can be quite stressful. And my main thing, I feel a bit of a fraud because I do a bit of rubber stamping because I make a few cards for friends and family. My mum passed away recently, and she was one of my biggest customers in that we used to have a restaurant. So everybody that ever came through the door, I think she sent them a Christmas card. So I made the Christmas cards, and generally I started in about July and it ended about a week before Christmas.
Thank you for telling us your creative
Thank
journey.
you.
And I think there's nothing like a little bit of an emotional pulse to stimulate something creative. And what we're going to do is, I just want the audience and everybody at home to see the vast array of rubber stamps that I have got. And I'm using, in the old days, I would have probably had these in a plastic tray. And that plastic tray would have had about another 6 plastic trays, all labelled up alphabetically or thematically. But life isn't like that anymore. What I've got is I use fruit cartons. So I get mine made locally by a local company that have been going, I would say, for 70 or 80 years. They're called the Rubber Stamp Company, and they actually today hand-delivered a new rubber stamp for us to use for the programme, and you guys are going to be the first to use it. There's nothing like using a brand new rubber stamp. It's pristine. So what I thought we'd start off with, I'd like you to get comfortable. We've got inks in here. Now, the thing about using a rubber stamp is it's really tempting to think, yes, I'm going to use all these brightly coloured, gorgeous inks. But believe you me, when you're starting, your best friends are your basic blacks, greens, browns. And in here, Summer, would you like to dig out, I think there's one that's a sepia colour in there for me, which is like a darkish brown. Oh no, I found it. But if you might like to take out one of the larger format printing slabs at the bottom, about this size, right at the bottom. So I'm going to get you two to maybe use that brown ink. We are going to use a black ink here. Black. There's black and there's black. Yeah. Black is a colour that when you print it, the more you print, the lighter it can get. So just do bear that in mind. I've also got 2 other stamps here. put your stamp on it, and I stamped this. So I'm going to let you have that one, and you have that one. And a really lovely thing to start off with, these little labels that we've got for the programme. So your going home present is a little bag, and you've got a label like this on, but a white luggage label, again, really economical. I would buy 500 at a time, and I know that will last me, say I've got 10 workshops. I know exactly how many labels to use. And if you make a mistake, use the other side. Hannah, I had a little idea that you might quite like having a go at printing some of your own wrapping paper. And I just thought that might be quite a nice inspiration for your group. We've got some pictures, we've got some images, and you literally don't worry about, oh, I'm going to do a repeat pattern. Just have a practice. And what I've got given for you is some lovely papers that you're going to make a series of cards. And we had a little discussion. I'm going to get you to do a little creative book. But let's get started. So I'm going to do the first one. If you want to watch me, you've all got your ink. Just make sure you've got a flat surface that you're going to get your ink onto. What I'm going to do is take my stamp, press it down. You want to get your ink on it evenly, and you'll get to know, you kind of rock it. Is that how you do it? And then literally imagine you're at passport control, table for 4, done. That's a good one. So are you going to go straight onto a label? Why not? Just go for it. That's one thing I would say. And having met you earlier, I don't think any of you have any danger in throwing yourself into something. Otherwise, you perhaps wouldn't be on this programme. I'm going to let you start. You just go for it. I'm not going to watch. And if you feel...
Neither am I.
I also want you to experiment with what the... That's it. Perfect. But what you might want to do is just think of your positioning. So if you're working on a rubber stamp, could I borrow that? Yeah. If you're working on a rubber stamp, if you worry about it moving, just maybe put one finger there, and then just a bit of hand-to-eye coordination. Perfect. Okay, like that. So what I'd like you to do is maybe you have a little practice, maybe practice on the paper, and when you're ready, once you get rolling, there's going to be no stopping you. So you're going to carry on with that. I'd like you two to start with your other ink, and then you can maybe have a go with that one as well. And then we can get you to start. Did you want your own palette? Why don't you try? This is a black ink as well. The key as well is to, where possible, and I know it's, oh, that's a really good one. I'm going to show that to everybody. That's great. That's a really nice, clear one. Why don't you just put your initial and the date on it so you know that's your first one? That's quite a nice thing to do. So let me see, how's that? What you might want to do is turn it, the orientation that this stamp is. So if you put your ink that way and that way, and put your hand on the top with the, if you put the, that's it.
It's much clearer.
If you put the ball of the stamp right in the centre of your hand, that really works. So I suppose what I'd like you to do is start looking. We'll start with you, Mary. If you want to have a think, you're going to make some cards. Yep. While Mary's doing that, I'd like you to have a little practice and then think what you're going to put in your lovely sketchbook. And we'll
do some...
Would you like to start on white?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's it, Mary. I think the expression is have a good hoke about.
Yeah.
And I know what that means.
Get stuck in.
So again, this paper, metallic Christmas wrapping paper or birthday paper or wedding paper, I'm just not seeing it anymore. I'm seeing brown paper, I'm seeing tissue paper, I'm seeing recycled paper. What I would really love is when you get confident, before you finish something, scrunch up the paper. There's paper is like fabric, it has a weave, and this is quite robust until you're wrapping up something and then the edges go. So when you're ready, in fact, I'll cut you off a strip so you can have a practice. And what I want you to do is make your little printing. I've got some coloured inks here if anybody wants them, but start off with black and white. I haven't invested in one of those amazing things for cutting paper yet, but it's just like a, it's almost like a ring that you can put on that you just go that. So why don't you fold that into half, then half again, just to have a little practice with that and just get that nice and flat. Okay. What I would say is where possible, keep your workstation for printing as flat as possible. So just any changes in level can affect how you print. So you're having a good practice on your newspaper there.
I'm going to use that.
You're going to use the
I'm going
newspaper?
to use it on my notebook.
Oh, fabulous. That's a really nice idea. So putting your stamp on it in quite a well-defined, that typeface is often used for danger, keep out, warning. It's what I would call an aggressive. Would you like to show the audience what you've done so far? I think that's really lovely. That's nice. And if you wanted some colour, don't forget the inks are there.
Oh yes,
So,
let's go for the colour.
Hannah, are you getting on okay
Yeah,
there? You're just going to have a
just
bit
stamping
of
away and
experiment.
doing myself.
So would you like to have another look at a nice design? If you're making a card, you could maybe have, let me see what we've got here. What I'm going to do is actually lift this. We're just stealing the rubber stamps.
Yeah, we are. We're just.
It also
hijacking
is
them.
quite nice to see them all together. So we've got a whole range of just things that you might find in a card. Thank you so much for a thank you card. So Mary, I'm going to let you stamp away and make a little series of greetings cards. I'm going to now pass that down to Hannah to just let you get a good variety of things to look at. So tell me a little bit about your crafting journey, Jeannie.
I think I've always crafted and I always made my own cards. And a bit like Mary, if I sent a card now that was shop bought, people would be offended. They nearly take offence because they like that personal touch.
You set the bar quite high.
I set the bar for myself quite high, which was a
Yeah.
bit silly, but so word of mouth really is how I have kept going with it. I made wedding invitations for a lady who asked me to because I also do calligraphy, so she knew that I could
This is writing.
do the writing for her, so she asked me to make them from scratch, and that's really, I think I was early 20s at that point. And then I just kept going with it and kept trying to just discover new mediums, watercolour, inks. And because of the connection with the writing, you know, I have built up quite a collection. It's nearly outgrowing me. I have like a whole room in the house full
Really?
of stuff. But then I started, a couple of friends, you know, had said to me, you need to get your stuff out there because it's so individual and it's so unique, which everyone is. And they signed me up for a craft fair to do for raising money for a local charity. So I did that. And on the back of that then ended up setting up a Facebook page, but I found it actually a good way of charting my progress as well. So seeing how my designs came on and how diverse they were and how many times, you know, you change your mind, and all my happy accidents are on it as well. So that's how I kind of discover myself, by just having a play and getting lost in it.
That's why I've given you this really plain little book, and these are really cheap as chips. I think I love saying that expression. But a tip, if you're doing a creative journal or any creative book, one thing I do is I just print random images throughout the book, so that when you're flicking through, you might come across something nice. So I'm looking here, you're making some really beautiful things there. Don't forget our coloured inks we've got here. There is
Yes,
a
I think,
green in here.
Which would go
I'm like
nicely with
the
that.
waiter bringing you. Would Madame like to try some green ink?
That
I
would
think
be
that green
beautiful.
ink would
It's
be
actually
nice.
in the
If you
paper as
fancied
well.
a bit of, you might fancy a bit of pink actually. That's quite nice for those lovebirds. Again, this is a design taken from a book that I kind of adapted, kind of changed it. So you have got a bit of opportunity for artistic interpretation. If you are sending things to a company locally to be created into a rubber stamp, you just need to have your design in a PDF or a JPEG format. The whole process for making a rubber stamp the company that I use takes 4 hours. So that you know there's a certain day, a time of day, that you have to have something in by 11 o'clock for them to, they will always send you a proof which I think is fantastic. If sometimes you might order something online and they will send you a proof and you don't know who you're speaking to say, oh, do you know what? I just want to go that bit smaller. If you're working with a local company, you can ring them and say, oh, I'm not sure. I find it quite daunting ordering something like a rubber stamp online and then waiting 4 days for it to come.
Yeah.
And it's, oh, do you know what? It's not right. I love the way you're tearing that. That's gorgeous. That's really nice. You get a good tear. Hannah, did you want to try something else, or are you happy making
I'm
your?
happy enough.
You're happy making
I'm
your
loving my
wrapping
life.
paper.
She loves that stamp.
You like that one? Put your
Yes,
stamp on
yeah.
it. Okay. What I'm going to do is just have a look in the box to see. Have you got the rubber stamp box?
Yep.
Thank you. If I could just reach across it. I'm sorry, it's not more portable. Actually, you know, in the 1950s at the cinema, the girl would
Got it.
go around selling chocolates and ice cream. That's what I kind of
sure
need
look
for
like.
this. I should go around to see the audience like that. I'm just going to have a look at some of these that I've got. There is, so I've just found something that I really love. I like to use bunting as a rubber stamp because you can then colour it on. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I've got some fabric. I'll print this onto a bit of fabric,
lovely.
then show you with a fabric pen how you can do it. Oh, there's a nice one here. We're talking about positive statements. Hold tight. That was
Oh, that's lovely.
that was quite good. So I'll let you use that as well. So I think I could stand here talking about the stories of my stamps, but I think I'm probably less is more now. So I'm going to just show you what I do with the bunting. Are you getting on okay? Oh, you've done a beautiful collage card. Oh, that's really nice. And then you can stamp over
Newspaper.
that. Newspaper. Oh, you see, I love working with
Can I
newspaper.
grab some glue,
I'm
please?
going to put this.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good luck with the glue. That's why I have so many. I have a little bag here. Again, I have another rubber stamp that says, so tell me what you think. And this is where I keep all my
Oh,
glue.
that's really cute.
This is made from, if you're looking for a good fabric to make drawstring bags from that you can then print on, this is curtain lining. Curtain lining is so
Brilliant.
strong, and it's got, if you just feel that on the inside,
Yeah.
there's a slightly soft feel. So if you're putting your hand in a bag, it feels quite nice. I'll let you feel it.
Oh, that is
And
nice.
the, would you like to feel? And if you are looking for something good that is reusing, I use Dr. Martens shoelaces. I wrote to them to say I was doing a project, being resourceful, make to amend. Did they have any spare bootlaces left from the factory? They sent me 2,000. So the things I've done with the shoelaces, and that was pre-pandemic. They arrived just before the project. So during the pandemic, I used up almost 1,199 shoelaces, and this is the 2,000th one. I use them for weaving. I wouldn't say I taught myself how to weave. I copied how I'd seen somebody do it, and then you kind of manufacture your own way of doing things. I'm liking what you're doing there. You're just adding a bit of ink.
Making a wee
bit of-
pocket just for the
I
front.
see. Oh, this is fabulous. I can't wait to see
And then I
this.
have to use this now that you've put it on the table because I just
Hold
love
tight.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite poignant. So I just wanted to have a go at showing you the bunting. I'm going to go for the black. I could have done pink. And I'm not going to press too hard with it because I kind of want to do a continuous, a little pattern. So you get the first one like
It's
that.
lovely.
And then you have to kind of gauge where you think it's going to go. In this box here, it's a really useful little piece of perspex. Sometimes you can get your rubber stamp that is a peel-off silicone one that you just,
That's what I would use.
you
Yes.
use them.
Yeah.
And then you can see where you join up. But I find the silicone, the amount that I use them for, they're very small. I think I'm really heavy-handed when I'm printing. They just don't seem to last for me. So I'm going to guesstimate and line that up there. So what I've actually got there is 2 lots of bunting, like that, okay, like that. And I'm going to keep that close, like this. And I'm just going to take a couple of colours. These are textile markers. Haven't used this blue for a while. Not quite sure how that's going to go. You can get lots of different makes. Some are expensive, some are cheaper. And literally, I don't colour in the whole thing. I just place it in and the colour kind of bleeds. Ideally, you should iron that before you start colouring. So I'm literally just going to put a few colours on like this. So what I might do is add Wish You Were Here onto this. Say somebody couldn't come to the wedding. I always feel sorry for people who missed a wedding.
Sounds good.
So Hannah, tell me a little bit about your creative journey. What brought you here today? You brought your group in, and then did you just get roped in for the programme?
Yes, I've brought my guys in because we're doing upcycling as part of our programme with my class. And I think they're all enjoying it so far. We've been doing different things, so we take stuff that would usually go in the recycle bin or were due to go into the waste bin, and we try and turn it into something else. So we're starting off just using our creativity to make anything, and then we'll start moving that into. I've got a old dresser that's the glass on the top, so the mirror on the top is broken. So we'll be taking that off and then making the dresser into maybe a mosaic dresser instead of it going to the dump. We're looking at, you know, how can we make stuff that would usually go into the waste, how can we stop that? And so there's a couple of projects I've got in mind for the guys. So
Oh wow, well I hope this inspires you.
a lot of my furniture at home is upcycled, so someone's, you know, throwing away a sideboard or something, I'll say I could repaint that. So I usually take it home, sand it and repaint it. And I've done that a lot with mirrors as well that people
What would
get
you
rid
do
of.
with mirrors?
Tend to try and distress the frame a bit more and then repaint them with chalk paints.
Yeah. And you get that nice crackly effect as well.
The broken mirror sometimes makes a really, really good photo frame, and all you've got to do is string pieces of string across, and you know the tiny wee clothes pegs that you can buy?
I can't believe I'm meant to be giving a workshop. I'm sitting here.
Or for your children's paintings. If
Oh,
you
that's a good
string it
idea.
across, you
Yeah.
actually can use the wee pegs.
Wow.
Oh, that's a lovely
I
idea.
love that idea. I can't believe I'm meant to be giving a workshop. I'm sitting here colouring
You're
and
enjoying
bunting.
yourself, yes, that's
I'm
the-
actually
that's the
really
thing with
enjoying this.
stamping.
Yeah.
You can't be
it
bothered
is.
with anybody else
no,
when you're
you
doing
just-
it.
And so just fill me in a little bit more. Thank you for filling me on your journey, how you got here today. What I'd like to do is just hear a little bit about your continuation of your creative journey. What else is out there that you'll still like to try and do?
Well, I have a wee go at anything. Quite recently, I go into a wee local primary school to encourage them with arts and crafts, and we made pumpkin prints with half an apple.
Oh, wow.
You just cut the apple in two, put your paint on it, slap it down. They loved it.
Okay.
And then you could put your wee lines on it and two wee green bits, and that was it.
Fabulous.
And they thought they were wonderful.
Well,
Well, they were wonderful.
What I'm going to do, has anybody got the Wish You Were Here?
Yes.
No, thank you so much. No lovebirds. What's this one?
I'm
No.
going to borrow Wish You Were Here, and I'm going to take the pink. I'm going to do that. That's my contribution to the class. And was there a member of staff, a member of the school who couldn't come today? I'll
Yes,
give
there was,
that
yes.
to you. I'll give you
Yeah.
the Wish You Were Here, and you can take
That'd
that
be
back
lovely.
for them. But what I would really like to do is when that's dry, just put the a table for four little logo. In fact, I think I might have a couple of little badges left. So if you want to take that back for your students, I will do. What I'm going to do is, Mary, I want you to just have a little look at what you're doing, and we'll have a little roundup. Don't forget, you've probably got time to print a few nice little tags as well. So you've done a lovely thank you so much. You've got your lovebirds card as well. That and a table for four. I'm going to show that to the camera. And you've got a Pomeranian doggy on there as well. That's beautiful. So that's decoupage mixed with rubber stamping. Why not print off for yourself some of the kind of key phrases that you've been using onto some paper or even onto an envelope, and then you can cut them and stick them down. So would you like to do that
Yep.
while you're finishing? Did you want me to scrunch that up for you?
I didn't want to be
do
too
that.
loud.
While I'm scrunching that up, did you print onto your bag?
I did.
Oh,
Just
wow.
hold tight on the hand. And
Yeah.
then
Do you want to show that up to the
beautiful.
audience
That's
and the camera?
That is beautiful.
That's really
absolutely
nice.
Beautiful. That's lovely. And what I'm going to do is give you some labels so you can, in the last remaining 5 minutes, you can print some labels. I'm literally going to scrunch up your paper for you. Believe me, this does work. Then when you get home, iron that, and it gives it a slightly, there's something lovely about reusing brown paper. This is brown paper, but it's white. That's the only difference. It's exactly the same texture. So, and what I'll do is I will give you some to take home with you. And if any of you want to just print off a table for 4, as that was our workshop. So there's your wrapping paper, and you definitely put your stamp on it. There you go. I'll let you have that.
Thank you.
Could you just spare me a moment just to show me your beautiful journal that you've made, which I think is really, really lovely.
I tried to stick to just a colour palette of the green, which she so kindly gave me, because it just worked perfectly to lift it out with the sepia and the black. And I started this way. So I always use my waste paper. I always use what I'm working on because I find that it tends to look better than the finished product. So that's going to be a butterfly on the back of it.
Oh, wow.
So I'll negotiate that as a wee butterfly.
Beautiful.
And then just took just an ordinary card and cut it in half, and then did like a decorative edge, and then stamped the same theme. And then my tags are just the various colours of that I have been using. But I love that sentiment, the hold tight. I think we've all used it in one way or another. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
It's something you say to yourself and to other people. I love the
Yeah.
way that you've made almost like a little get well. I'm thinking of you pack. Really very, very thoughtful. Really lovely.
Or it could be your gratitude journal, or it
Yeah.
could be somebody who has everything, like most people have now, and have had a bereavement, or have had a hard time, or are going through a difficult phase, and maybe it encourages them to get it out of their head and put it on paper.
Yeah. Get it out there. Hold tight. Get it out there. And what have you done on the inside?
So on the inside, I've just carried the theme right through and just stamped. I do it on every other page, not
So I'm going
every
to open
page.
that so that everybody can see that. So we've got our lovely hold tight journal with a little pocket here and our little labels, and this little journal costs under £1 to buy. And you've just used that. I love the kind of slightly ghost-like images that you've put. And what I love is at the end, you've just added in a beautiful, that almost looks like a dove or something like that.
I didn't
That's
really know what it
beautiful. That is
set
lovely.
out to be.
Oh, and look, you've put that on the back. Are you pleased with what you've made?
Yeah, because I've used everything I use. That's how I always set out to do something.
Yeah.
I use my waste.
Absolutely lovely. I'd really like to thank you, Hannah, Jeannie and Mary, for coming along today and sharing with us this lovely rubber stamping workshop. I wanted to thank again the Arts Council for providing the funding so we can actually do this, and I hope we've inspired our audience out there to get out there and put your stamp on it. It's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, my contribution wasn't on paper, but there's something you can take back to the school. You've all got your goodie bags to go home with. We've shared some lovely ideas and have really given me some inspirations. So let's give our guests a lovely round of applause.